Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here and Jack Kinnett. All the lights are currently lit here on track. And it is go, go, go! Denoso with a crafty maneuver up the inside. pass from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
Do not count out Danny Berezne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Foreman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again. It's PCF2, it's PSGL, it's season 37, and we have got quite the exciting race for you this evening. Of course, joined in the commentary box by Omi. How are you doing, my friend? Welcome.
Hello, Sappy. Doing very well. Last week was very exciting, so cannot wait for hopefully more of the same here at Miami today.
Yep, Miami's going to be a solid one. It's going to be a fun one. Now, we aren't going to waste much of any time because we've already got the drivers jumping into qualifying and getting their outlaps underway. So let's make sure that we catch up. Let's talk about the previous race. Let's talk about what happened. And we had Riccardo Benzoni taking the win, the checkered flag, and by quite a strong margin as well. Taika Hardy and Tony Roche making up the rest of the podiums with Julien Klaffenbach, Leerlund, Kel Statra, Jan Halade, Felipe Salsa, Daniel Perode and Tope making the rest of the top 10. And you can see the rest of the field falling into motion there as we look through 11 to 20. Where does that leave us in quite the interesting predicament here at the early stages of the championship? So this is, of course, the standings after round one, of course, fastest lap and pole lap, all counting for points all the same. So that is going to be where we leave ourselves here. And looking at the championship standings, how do you think tonight is going to go? Of course, in Miami.
It can all around very quickly in PSGL. We've had, of course, one race so far this season at Silverstone. We now arrive at Miami, where it can all change around, and some drivers may be weaker at the circuit. We know maybe a few drivers don't like this circuit as well. So there could be a bit of a switch between who's good and who's not. So the championship standings can definitely take a bit of a change as well. And definitely with drivers possibly having a bit more time to practice for this week, maybe a bit more or maybe a bit less than Silverstone. So it always changes around round to round in PSGL today as well.
Yeah, well, we are headed off to the Miami Grand Prix. It's 19 corners, 5.4 kilometers round the Hard Rock Stadium. Of course, a bit of a controversial circuit for some, but for others, it's a chance to use its unique layout and characteristics to best effect. Where you're going to be watching and keeping an eye on these drivers, it's going to be that final sector just before the second DRS zone, but there's no time to waste, folks. Trackside, still in the F1 World Car, but it is going to be Liam Stevens who's going to be out for the first lap. Bit of a lockup already on the first corner, but you see some of the tyre smoke.
Yeah, indeed. So Liam Stevens then already going attacking on this circuit, and the first lap can always be crucial and is always crucial for the driver to build up on throughout the second and third run as well. So Liam Stevens about to cut the beam for that first sector time as well. That's coming his way, and it's a 29.030. So Liam Stevens in the first sector is going to be looking now to push on in the second sector as well. So let's see if he's going to be able to continue with a bit of an advantage over the rest of the drivers on this lap. The first lap, of course, so they're all just trying to get a banker lap on but once again, a bit of a lockup. So Liam Stevens making a few errors on this lap. Lots of smoke coming from the tires as well as he goes attacking now in the second sector.
Oh, bit of a slip on the
Oh,
rear as he goes around just under the bridge there before we head to the back straight. Still 15 minutes left in the session, so this can be taken a little bit more carefully. He can take these, in effect, banker laps, get his initial baseline, and then he can start to push from there. We see Stevens coming up to the final couple of corners now, heading down that back straight, putting everything into that push as we easily come up to 200 miles an hour through and heading into turns 17 to 19. It's going to be a good initial run here from Liam Stevens. Bright pink and a very loud entrance. First car on the grid, 24.7. Let's see what the rest of the field does. Jana Turpkov coming in with a 25.1. So a few tenths behind, not quite where they wanted to be. A few more coming through now as well. For instance, Harvey Cohen has just gone onto the back straight here. We see Klaffenbach taking quite the swing, making it a 0.737 and the new pole position time as many others are now following suit. I think they're just, I say, gone a little bit crazy with some of the colours I'm noticing as well. Of course, having to continue using the F1 World Car due to performance issues with the equal setting. And it has given a little bit of creative license to see very nice colour combos coming out from some of these drivers as Harvey Cohen goes fifth.
indeed. So more effort being put this week with the drivers knowing that they're using the F1 World Cars as well. So we're definitely seeing a bit more colours out there, which is lovely to see, especially on the map. And we have Louis Welsh who is down there right now as Parodi is in P8, and we're looking at all of the other drivers. Lukumski has invalidated the entire lap, so this lap will not count for him as well. So it's, as you mentioned, Julian, who's currently P1, Riccardo Benzoni, our race winner from last time out in P2. Then we have Liam Stevens in third position. And here we go with Riley McKay. He is making his way down the back straight, a huge overtaking opportunity when it comes to the race. Right now, though, he is on an out lap and he is getting ready to go for a push lap down towards turn 1.
Well, let's see what he can do. He's going to be out of the loop and the cadence of the rest of the field. He's got 16 cars who've set a time, and then you've got the 4 who've left to do it. Lukomski, of course, having invalidated their lap means they're going to have to go back in again for a fresh set. But this gives a bit of a chance for Mackay and Zibble to get a lap done, basically an entirely clean air. And we are going to see increased enforcement when it comes to the slipstream as well, folks, because we have seen reports of extreme slipstream affecting qualifying times disproportionately outside of the scope of what would be considered fair. And for the sake of clarity and for the sake of, well, the safety of the championship and wanting everyone to have a fair chance when it comes to qualifying, we're going to see a little bit of increased enforcement. We're also going to see the drivers spacing themselves out a lot more under provision of the stewards. So let's see what these racers can do with all of that in mind. Of course, a lot to juggle in this scenario as we come through to the last few corners in the main complex sector of the circuit. Very easy to invalidate in that bridge section, Omi.
Definitely is very easy to invest well. And remember these things for that 1 point for pole that is added for this season as well. So definitely does add to the importance of qualifying as well, because PSGL championships do come down 2 points. So that extra point could play crucial if a driver is a bit more stronger in qualifying. So it definitely is going to play a bit of a factor as Riley McKay comes across the line to go into P12.
Yeah, and that just leaves Jan Halliday, who is the only driver now out currently on a run, as Zibil just came through, 0.7726 milliseconds behind Benzoni, but a very strong initial time nonetheless. Going to put himself at the second row for now, but with 11 minutes to go, it's still anyone's game. Let's see what Jan Halliday does here as we come up to the bridge section.
Is he going to be able to keep it inside the white line? Seems like so far he has been able to indeed, and getting very close to the wall on the exit. But of course, just getting a first banker lap in, he'll be looking to push and go even better on the second and third run as well. But he is running time. He's running out of time in this session. Already 30 seconds to go on the clock. So he'll get this banker lap, and he just needs to make sure that this lap counts in case that there is mistakes as well. So let's see what Jan Halliday can do as he is about to come across the line. Goes into P5, so a good lap from Jan Halliday.
Yep, and now we're going to see the next set of drivers now coming through on their runs. Liam Stevens, of course, first one to go out initially, first one to set a time. Now is going to make it a twofer, but by the looks of things, he's going for a bit more of a balanced approach on this run. We saw the recharge lights coming out. Maybe he went for an early abandon, but let's look at the time splits as we come to the end of the sector. Looks like it was just a brief recharge, as he's currently a 10th.5 up and easily jumping into 8th gear. Very much at VMAX right now.
So Stevens looking, yeah. Yep. Sorry, there as well. But Stevens continuing though on this lap. Currently in P4, top is left the session, so a little bit of an issue on his side. Hopefully he'll be able to get back in and all is okay for the man who currently sits in position. But we're watching the man currently sitting in P4 and he's up by 34 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, he's going to be pushing it. Just remember, though, that even that small of a margin could be the difference between his current spot and putting himself comfortably in P2, if not on pole. So let's see if he can convert. He's not going to commit to the run, though, despite that good initial push. And maybe he lost a little bit of time on that second sector, and that was all he needed to consider otherwise. Either way, we're going to be on board with Leo Lund. Another driver who we have seen in seasons past show strength, but also have a couple of issues with consistency. So let's see if he can convert. And unfortunately, just as we say that, drops the rear a little bit, coming out into the back straight. And that is going to see him have to take another run.
Indeed. At Felipe Sousa, Brad Hold'em goes to the front of the field. So Brad finds the lap time, first man into the 1 minute 24.6s. So he's been able to find the lap time that takes him to the front of the field. We are currently watching, though, our former PCF4 champion as well, being promoted to F2 for this season and to get an improvement on this lap time. Currently in P18, and as we take a look at the second sector, up by 900ths of a second, but those you improve a few places. So every single, so even thousandths of a second that you gain can be, we add it all up, and we see what the lap time is overall. So let's see where he's going to be able to place himself as he makes his way through the end of the lap. It's foot flat to the floor all the way now till the line. Let's see what Felipe Sousa is able to do in 18th position. Improvement of time for Felipe Sousa.
Yeah, good improvement from Salsa, but not enough to make a big impact on his positions. We've got a few other drivers who we, of course, want to keep an eye on and have a look at as they go through. Valentino Labella has been one, for instance, that I certainly want to keep a little bit of an eye on this session, and one that I've seen with some great performances on their day. But as with many drivers, like when you get to this level, and your racecraft is honed to such a point where hundredths, if not milliseconds, make the difference. So your big time gains are going to come from consistency, from being able to consistently put down those 0.7s or even 0.6s as you go through the race distance and as you maximize your qualifying runs. That is the big differentiator here. And qualifying is always a good benchmark. You still get a decent amount of grid spread. You still get a good amount of information about what drivers are strong on what track, because everyone has their preferences. We see Harvey Cohen come in with a 0.565. Is there going to be a return shot from anyone else? Lavella goes into P13. Tycho Hardy is going to be going down into Sector 2 now as we speak. We've got a few other cars are going to be coming through shortly as well.
All of the pushing now happening as well. Cohen going to the front of the field, now ahead of Brad Hold'em. We have 6 seconds to go on the clock. We are watching Riley McKay as we look to Julian Klaffenbach, who has invalidated this lap, so he'll try push for Riley McKay up as well in the first second. Let's see whether he'll be able to continue it through the second sector. He won't, because they did that lap time, unfortunately for him. So it's going to be crucial keeping it inside the white lines, but also trying to go faster than your banker lap as well. The track, of course, will be improving all the time, so drivers definitely need to try and keep it inside the white lines. That's going to be crucial, and if there is a lot of drivers invalidating, then you could find yourself moving up a lot of positions. So it's always crucial to find the improvement in the last runs. As talking about improvements, Tope is up in the first sector, but it's the second sector through the chicane, which we have seen many drivers lose it. So that's going to be a hard task for him to also try push and go even faster, but also keep it within the white lines as well.
Yep, and Liam Stevens, having retired out of the session, is going to concede himself to 8th at best, though I wouldn't be surprised if he's put in double digits by the end of the session. Tope making his way through the bridge section, keeping the reins on the car best as he can as we exit the second sector. It's a 10th up overall, which is going to potentially be good enough to put him even P10 if he can absolutely nail this final sector. I'm very interested at how these drivers are navigating that section in particular, because you have points where you almost voluntarily relinquish control of the car. You bump over the curb a little bit and you have to kind of have faith in your car that you'll be able to recapture it and get it back on the right lines. But there's Tope in 12th. Got a few more cars who are pushing through and improving. Golden Dorp 0.713 for instance, looking very strong thus far. You've got a couple of other cars who are finishing or coming up to starting runs once again, like Louis Welch for instance, currently sat on a 26.1, but is half a tenth up. Unfortunately, just invalidated, I believe. So despite being 7/10 up, that could have been an absolutely immense improvement, but it's not going to be one that converts into an improved position.
Unfortunately, that is the case for Louis Welsh, so he'll need to try again in the 4 minutes now that he has in this session to go as well. We're watching Tripkov, who is sending it over the curb through the bridge section, and now he's going to make his way straight, and he's up by over a 10th of a second. So he'll be looking to try and move forward and get himself up a couple of positions. We have Kian fourth position. He was the man who stood on pole position last time out, but had terrible luck in the race. So he'll be hoping that he can go better this. He'll also be hoping that he can put it on pole once more. Let's see what Tripkov can do. Across the line, he will go, and he's going to be in P16. So an improvement there for Jane Tripkov. There's still Harvey Cohen at the front of the field. All of them, most of them in the pit lane right now, but we're going to start to see them come out for the last runs here in this session.
Yep, Yanni Turpkov, of course, a driver to watch, has shown to have some great performances in rounds past and seasons past for that matter. So one to definitely keep an eye on, along with so many others in this field, because this is F2, remember, this is some of the best drivers that you are going to get in the league racing scene. This is where we're talking development drivers, academy drivers, if not esports reserve seats, and full-timers in some cases, if we get really lucky. So this is really the boiling pot of some of the best talent you have in the scene, and this is part of what's so great about it. You get the chance to see these young talents, or say talents of tomorrow, have the chance to push and show themselves to the world, whether they have jumped straight in and absolutely smashed it, or whether they have worked and promoted themselves through the likes of F5, F4, and so on. But we're on board with Danielle Parodi now, and they are going to be one of the drivers, of course, with a very strong initial showing. One that we are going to continue to monitor as we jump into this qualifying lap. We only have 2 minutes to go, so this is likely going to be make or break for these drivers. Last chance to go. They've got to make that line before the timer runs out. Otherwise, they are going to be firmly out of luck. And you can see the cluster of cars just coming out of the bridge section on the map.
Indeed. So traffic going to be a huge thing, spreading itself out, of course, as well, and then trying to keep the slipstream rules that we have in mind. Tripkov has retired, so he'll start best at 16, but the drivers behind are all on outlap, so they're all going to try and find an improvement. Daniele Parodi up by 600ths of a second in the first sector, now down the back straight. DRS wide open, so it'll be important to try and find it through the bridge section, through the chicanes and the upcoming corners that we have coming up. For Parodi, who sends the car in, Lukumski will start best at 5th, but once again, we could be seeing improvements on drivers behind, so that could be a little less down the order for Lukumski over the chicane, keeping it inside track limits crucially for Parodi. Second sector up by nearly 1.5 of a second, so Parodi looking to push on, and let's see if they can try and keep it up in the last braking zone and traction zone that we have remaining on this circuit.
the grid spread is so unbelievably tight. You look at some of these differences between times. We are talking hundreds, milliseconds, 2 milliseconds between Benzoni and Zibble, for instance. But is Parodi going to be able to put up a fight to it? He lost it a little bit in the third sector. It's not going to be an improvement, and he's not going to have the ERS to commit to a second lap. So Parodi not going to have the chance to push it into the top 10. They're going to continue round regardless, but that is not going to be the performance they were necessarily looking for. We've got Godendorp, who is just about going to make the line, barely being able to come through there as the checkered flag has now fallen. These last runs are make or break. Klappenbach just comes across the line, 0.704. You've got Molnar, who's also just crossed over, along with Benzoni and a couple of other cars now pushing through.
Tycho Hardy in second position. Still no one has a response to Cohen at the front of the field. Louis Welsh is off. Louis Welsh is wide at the last braking zone, and that's going to be a lap ruined for him as he'll come across the line. Has already invalidated it as well. Now we look to Riley McKay. Let's see what he can do across the line. Keeping it to the inside, going up to P12 for Riley McKay. And it's currently Hardy in second, Cohen in first. And then we have Gregory moved up to fourth position. Let's see what Nelson Alves can do. Up by 9 thousandths of a second. But those tiny margins can be crucial in the business end of the lap. And that's exactly where Nelson Alves is heading to. Let's see what he'll be able to do across the line. Moves up to 8th position.
Brilliant stuff here. So a few more drivers now coming through. We've got Godendorp, who has come out at the very last second to get a chance to go for another run. You're seeing the rest of the field start to equalise out in a big way. Tope going instantly into 6th place. Brilliant stuff there. Harvey Cohen, very confident to the point where he's retired out of the session. A couple of others did not get the chance to go for other runs like Lukomsky. And it's going to be Godendorp coming across the line. No improvement there. So Harvey Cohen is going to be our winner of the qualifying session. Is going to be a 0.565, and he's got an extra point in his bag.
Super stuff by him as well. Didn't even need the last lap for that. All sorted in the second run in this qualifying session. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant qualifying session. Close as we would expect here in the second tier here in PSGL. And we've got an exciting race coming our way.
And very much going to be fireworks on this track. So use your timings in full. We have Harvey Cohen, followed by Tycho Hardy, Bradley Holdham, Gregory Zibble, Julian Klafenbach, top 8, Kian Godendorp, Shimon Lukomsky, Nelson Alves, and Ricardo Benzoni making your top 10. In the second half, we have Liam Stevens, Jan Halliday, Riley McKay, Andre Molnar, Valentino Labella, Daniela Parodi, Jarne Turpkov, Felipe Salsa, Leo Lund, and Louis Welch. I've got to say, in terms of Welch, he really did struggle that session. He seemed to invalidate quite a lot. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, struggled to get the lap time going there. So he'll be on a bit of a recovery drive, or that's exactly what he'll be hoping, that he's going to be able to try and make his way up through the field. So it'll be interesting to see whether he's going to be able to do so. So keep an eye on his progress, but keep an eye on everyone. It could really be, we could be getting some shocks as well. But yeah, it'll be a disappointing result for Louis Welsh, not able to get that qualifying run. We of course saw at the end him running wide and invalidating and losing that lap as well. So it's a qualifying session to forget for him, but he'll be hoping to turn it around to try and score some points in the race.
And of course, before we get into the race itself as well, folks, make sure you support the people who support us. We have some great sponsors in the form of GT Omega and Sim Racing Centre. Use code PSGL for a healthy discount at checkup. So whether you're looking to get some new equipment or whether you're looking to get some setups, coaching, anything like that, you know who to turn to. Support the people who support us. And with that all being said, folks, we are about to go trackside for the race itself. What are you expecting, Omi, just before we jump in?
Exciting. So cannot wait to see how it's going to play out as we look down in the pit lane. But yeah, strategy is going to be interesting once again. Safety cars could play a part. So yeah, the race is going to be wide open, and our pole sitter didn't even end up at the top at all, or near the top, due to a disappointing race. So it can all change around very quickly here in PSGL, but keeping your front wing intact is going to be very crucial, or you could lose a lot of time with how close everyone is. And of course, fighting your way through the DRS terrain, sometimes you do need to be a bit patient rather than being impatient and going for a move that could result in contact.
Yeah, I think the key thing here is, especially in the first few laps, bide your time. But we're about to find out. We're about to see. It's 4-5 red lights. The track is hot here in Miami for round 2. And immediately, away we go. It's going to be a great start for Harvey Cohen. Gregory Zibble going to make a push, but Hold'em is not taking it to chance at all. We're seeing immediately drivers go 2, potentially 3 wide in that mid-pack as they're all trying to fight for position. Lekomsky trying to keep a hold of his spot. Not quite happening. Klaffenbach immediately making a charge. Little bit of connection instability from top A though. Maybe putting the likes of Klaffenbach and Zibble on edge.
It was second downwards that got our attention down towards turn 1. Harvey Cohen got the exact start that he wanted. Julian Klaffenbach in a battle there with Tope, but keep your eye on Brad Hold'em, who's going to be looking to try get close as well for a move on Tycho Hardy. As we look further back, Julian Klaffenbach is very close to Tope as well. Will Brad Hold'em be late to the brakes and dive to the inside? He's going to back out of that one once again, not wanting to risk stuff at this stage of the race, but it can be pass or be passed because Gregory was also in there as well, as Tope is going to be behind Julian. So Julian was able to take P5, Tope in P6, and then it's Lekumsky who is battling with Nelson Alves, and then it's Kian and Liam Stevens completing the top 10, and spinning around is Riccardo Benzoni, our race winner from last time out at Silverstone, a spun, and is all the way at the back of the field.
It's not looking good for Benzoni right now. He's going to have a lot of work to try and catch up to this field, because that is, in the first lap, the worst thing that can possibly happen. We got a fight at the front, got Zibble and Hold'em going side by side as we end the first lap of this race, and it's immediately looking like the teeth are being bared as these drivers are going to be pushing out. Looking at some of the strategies, we've got a mix of medium and hard, so the softs not the most viable on this circuit. They tend to burn out quite easily. It's easy to go over temperature, so the medium to hard strategy seems to be the play here.
Indeed. So we were just seeing some side-by-side as well, but Riccardo Benzoni into the pit lane, so possibly some front wing damage as well. Late lunge on the inside from Julian, who gets past Brad Hold'em, who gets past Gregory. That is absolutely incredible stuff to get past 2 cars in 1 corner. Him on the mediums is able to get past Gregory, who's also on the mediums. Brad, though, on the hard compound of tires. So as you mentioned, we have a bit of a mix. Gregory trying to fight back, and we also have Brad in there as well. And Gregory will go all the way around the outside to try and retake the position. But Harvey Cohen has got the gap to Tycho Hardy by 1.3 seconds as we continue the battle for third. And it's Julian Klaffenbach who has got it around the outside of Gregory.
Zibble not quite done yet, but an amazing overtake on the both of them from Klaffenbach. You can see he's setting himself up, heading into that first DRS zone, and an amazing lunge in the inside allowed him to get that late overtake. He has gone to go full conservative, however, now, as he's not got any battery to his name. Luckily, he got this move done within the first couple of laps before DRS can really take hold.
Indeed, Tope darting all over the road, trying to get past Brad, who will be struggling for grip at this stage on the hard compound of tyres, and that could open the door for Tope on the run down towards turn number 1 as well. So let's see whether he'll be able to outbrake into the braking zone. Will he be able to outbrake Brad? He's keeping his foot in, but it seems like Brad has just got the position. They're all in a bit of a DRS train at this stage. Remember, DRS opens on lap number 2 in the game, just like it does in real life now. So they've all got DRS already. Now we're on lap number 3, so it would be open as usual. But Tycho Hardy is not going to experience any of that. He instead is having to look in his mirrors because Julian's going to have a huge opportunity to get past on this lap.
Yep, and Julian is going to continue that pressure. He wants to get that early swing. He wants to set his position as soon as he can, because once the DRS opens, he doesn't want to get caught out. Although I'd witnessed many few different overtakes in this race, and the thing that I can say from previous experience of the track is that you don't want to be second. In a position like this, with Cohen 1.9 seconds up the road from Hardy, Klaffenbach's in the ideal spot here. The DRS is going to open. He can daisy chain with the likes of Zibble and Hold'em. And Hardy is, in fact, the one who's kind of stuck here because Cohen is not in the scene. He's got that early breakaway, and provided he doesn't make any big mistakes, he could keep that momentum. Klaffenbach, though, regardless, is going to keep pushing upwards along with Zibble, as Hardy is going to concede not 1, but 2 positions as we go through the penultimate corners. It's not going to be an easy fight, as you can see, just from these top 4.
Brilliant battling. Once again, 1.6 seconds. What they can do, the drivers from second downwards, if they want to, as Julian has a bit of a snap on the rear on the exit as well. What they can do is try work together to try get inside the 1 second of Harvey Cohen. So that could be something they do with the DRS if they do want to contend for the race when, of course, they've lost some time. But at this stage of the race, they're just going to be switching around, conserving the tires, and you don't want to be the lead car at times as well, as that's laid on the brakes from Liam Stevens. Up to P8 he goes. But yeah, you don't really want to be the lead car at times, so maybe switching positions, exchanging positions with the DRS, that could be a way for these guys to get back in the race with Harvey Cohen, because of course Tycho Hardy may have an opportunity with it as he's on a bit of a different strategy, but Julian Klappenbach is on the same strategy as Harvey Cohen, but also at the same time is also on the same tires as well, so he'll have to work extra hard if he wants to contend, because Harvey Cohen seems like he just wants to run away with this one at this stage of the race.
Patience is the name of the game here. You're on lap 4 of 29, you've got yourself a good position, and even while the leader may be far away, you know that with your opponent in second and fourth, the likes of Hardy, he can use those hard tyres, play a bit of a longer game, and then on the second stint is where he's going to gain the most of his time. So I wouldn't be so hasty as to try and jump positions right away. In fact, we can see Klappenbach and Hardy, they're both hard on the recharge right now because they burnt all of their resource going for these early spots. And that is going to leave them a little bit stuck. We see Riley McKay going for an attack on Kian Godendorp. Is it going to materialize into a move? They go side by side into turn 1. The blue versus the green. Let's see who can come out on top. Godendorp with a little bit more momentum coming out of the corner 2. It's going to be Godendorp with a bit more space. Valentino Labella is not going to make McKay's run an easy one as we come up to the end of the first sector and up to the detection zone. Everyone in this mid-pack is fighting hard for positions. We see Leo Lund going for a bit of a lunge on the inside. That is going to be a big snap on the wall for Labella, and they are going to be dropping down massively. Luckily, though, it doesn't look like there's any major damage. They have lost an end plate, but it's not catastrophic.
So, huge battling going in the mid-pack. Of course, these drivers all duking it out, trying to make some late sends. When you are in a DRS train, it can be hard to do on the straight, so sometimes you have to do some braking prowess into corners and be a bit late on the brakes to try gain some positions as well. So, some interesting battling going on. We cut to Tope, who is on the back of Nelson Alves down this straight. So, if he doesn't want to make this move, he'll need to use a tiny bit of ERS to do it. Liam Stevens looks very close as well. So Liam Stevens could be the one actually dishing out the overtakes down to the braking zone, and he'll get past. So he'll get past Tope. He was also having a look at Nelson Alves on the exit. He wasn't able to get past Nelson, so it's Nelson still in P6, Liam Stevens up to 7th, Tope down to 8th, as Felipe Souza also is battling with Jan Halliday right now as well in the battle for P13.
And that is going to be Jan Halliday in P13 for now. Say, Stevens went for the move, nicely done on Tope. To go for Alves as well, I have to call that a little bit optimistic. They did get the nose in and they were slightly ahead. They did have command of the corner with the apex, if ever so slightly. But to call it a double overtake and to decide that's what you're going for, maybe a little bit optimistic. Oh, what's that happened? That's Tope. He just went into the wall at the end of the first sector. That is a VSC. He's lost the front right.
Disappointment for Tope. That is going to be the end of his race, and we just saw it. Back of shot as well, him losing the car straight into the barrier, and that is his race done. Virtual safety car out due to it as well, so that's going to be disappointment for Tope, who will be eliminated from the race. Our first retirement of this race. The race is now neutralized as well due to the virtual safety car. So not a full safety car, but it is a virtual, so we'll just wait for the green flags to come back out, and then we'll be going racing once again. But timing this right can be crucial for the drivers, and we do usually see some gaps come closer and maybe even extend slightly as well. So timing this right is going to be crucial, and the drivers do need to be able to react quick on this restart.
Yeah, the VSC is a very important element of a race dynamic because you can, if you're very crafty with it, you can gain a couple of tenths on the delta. There is two ways that you can gain time on safety car conditions. As we're seeing with many of the leaders, the first one is pitting in. DRS has been enabled. Ooh. Oh, that is going to be a drive-through penalty for Yanni Turkov, as they've been speeding under the VSC. They did not respect the delta, but Harvey Cohen and many others have chosen to take a jump early into the pits, although the timing of the VSC's deactivation was not ideal for them. They did still lose a significant chunk of time, but it's an overall saving compared to going in the pits under normal. The other time is when you can get ahead of the delta ever so slightly when the period ends. But that is all by the wayside now, as we see Parodi and Labella having a little bit of a battle. Hold'em and Hardy, also at the top end of the field, are going to be duking out themselves, with Hardy looking like he's a little bit on the ropes. No battery, and DRS is going to help, but it's not going to be the saviour that I think he's planning.
Felipe Souza and we also have Andre Molnar going wheel to wheel, nothing between them, and it seems like that Felipe Souza just with the inch ahead as well, so he has got that position for now, but still is going to have to defend it. Lap number 7 of the race. But yeah, we've seen some of our leaders come into the pit lane. They did gain at least a few seconds from that virtual safety car, as we see another exchange for the lead. Hardy back to P1 in the race. Parodi getting his way past Andre Molnar as well, and also getting past Felipe Souza, who seems like he's dropped down, and now he's re-overtaking as well. So Felipe Souza back to P8 goes to some fantastic battling, and you can see Felipe Souza giving the squeeze to Andre Molnar as we make our way down towards turn number 1.
Yeah, good battling coming from this mid-pack over here. Of course, the leaders having converted into an early stop means that there is potentially a big gain and a big gamble coming in from a lot of our drivers who are still out on their initial set of rubber. For instance, the current leaders, Hardy and Hold'em, they continue to exchange places. But the likes of Salsa and Molnar, they have also got a chance to push up ahead, capitalise on this shake-up in the race order, as Parodi has done, because they're currently sat in P7, which is very impressive considering their initial circumstance.
Indeed, as we currently take a look at the position gains so far in this race. Of course, we've seen quite a lot of cars make pit stops from the leading group, so we have seen they have reduced a lot of places, and then some have gained due to that as well. So you're also now going to start to see Louis Welsh come under a bit of pressure from those drivers who have made pit stops. So being able to clear the car ahead is going to be crucial. And talking about clear, Tyker Hardy is going to do exactly that. Easy pass with DRS able to get through in the background. Parodi also up the inside of Jan Halliday. Should be a similar story in the battle of P6, and is.
Yeah, Parodi now into 6th place, looking very good for him, and he's made a good recovery effort, but this is going to be his major hurdle. 4 seconds splits him and Leo Lund. It's not going to be an easy barrier to climb. Leo Lund is showing immense pace throughout the entire race so far. They've gained the most positions out of everyone in this field, and Klaffenbach has just gone the fastest with a 27.772 on the hards, not even on the medium, so goes to show how hard they are pushing. Louis Welch, unfortunately, getting a time penalty from the game, so that is going to be 3 seconds that they did not want. They're currently going to drop from P11 to P13 under current.
So Brad Hold'em retaking the lead of this race, as you can see on screen right now. Tyker Hardy down to second, who we are on board with. Halliday also making his way past Parodi as well, so those two keep exchanging positions, just like the top 2 in the race. Liam Stevens, though, who didn't elect to pit under that virtual safety car on the medium, still is here right now. Harvey Cohen able to follow through, able to get through on Louis Welsh. Julian Klaffenbach also able to follow through as well. Back onto the straight we go now. We look to the battle. So Louis Welsh passed by the pair, so Cohen able to get through, but crucially Julian Klaffenbach able to follow immediately through, and that means that he's now got a huge opportunity onto the straight, and he is already alongside, and that will not even be a contest down into the braking zone. He'll already be alongside, and he should be through by the time that we hit the brakes, way before we hit the brakes for the apex.
Keep in mind, folks, for those who are on 2-lap-old hards, this is potentially their battle for the lead, because they are not going to be pitting again. They pitted under the VSC to try and save as much time as possible. The last thing they're going to do is negate that time with another stop. We see Labella heading into the pits now, 9 laps on the mediums. They've decided that now is prime time to get on the white walls. As you can see, the rest of the field starting to file in and start to consider their options. If you're on a medium tyre, this is about the point where you'd start to consider how early or late you want to be jumping into the pits. An undercut is a very powerful strategy, but if you come out into traffic or come out in conditions where you're having to constantly fight other cars, any potential advantages are going to be wasted.
They are indeed as well. So that is the battle now for the net race lead between Cohen and Klaffenbach, and Cohen able to retake the position there. So 10th position right now is the battle for the net lead. Louis Welsh continues to drop down places, of course, in this one with the faster cars who've made a pit stop in this one, going through and past and battling amongst themselves as they do so. Hardy back into the race lead. We're watching though with our net race leader at the moment being chased by Julian Klaffenbach and should be passed by Julian Klaffenbach because he's got DRS and he's already alongside in his through way before the braking zone. So these two now just kind of exchanging positions, working together at this stage of the race because they'll be coming under pressure later on when their tires are going to be wearing out, and there's going to be other drivers who are going to have better tires on the charge and on the attack as well. So these two need to try work together, not battle amongst themselves. Work together right now, pull as much of a gap as they can, and then try and hope that they've done enough in the final stages.
Well, look how little Cohen is defending, though. He's allowing Klaffenbach to burn energy and get past. And this is the kind of strategy that we're going to start to see, where these drivers are going to effectively be on a pendulum, swapping back and forth, not too dissimilar to Hold'em and Hardy right now. They're going to try and eke each other out on the resource game. Hardy, still having half a battery in the tank, is going to be trying to save that up to a point where Hold'em has no real way to retaliate and they can confirm that position. We are talking, reminder, we are talking academy drivers. McLaren X pedigree is Cohen, for instance, and he's putting that knowledge on full display with the way he's handling that battle with Klaffenbach. He's got back past in the previous DRS zones, but again, look, he's keeping the battery well topped off. So when the time comes, he's going to be able to retaliate. Klaffenbach is following a similar ideal. They're both trying to out macro. I do sometimes get the terms confused in terms of their resource management in order to get themselves in a prime spot to take the lead when the time is right.
Indeed, always about those final stages it does come down to, and it always does get very, very crucial. Kian and Liam Stevens have dived it into the pit lane. We are currently looking at the never-ending story between our top two, doing basically exactly what Sappy has just explained to you about Julian and Hari. So these two right now just exchanging positions lap after lap in the DRS zones as well, and playing a few mind games in this one so far. But of course, these guys are still yet to make a pit stop in this one, but they're of course on the alternative strategy. They're going to be the ones on the attack when they do make their pit stops. They're going to be the ones pushing and hoping to get onto the back of the likes of Julian Klaffenbach and Harvey Cohen in the final stages of this race. So keep an eye on these guys. When they do make their pit stop, they'll be looking to charge, and they'll be the ones who will be providing us with a lot of the action at that time. But the final laps and the final stages of this one are going to be exciting, so make sure you stick with us here at PSGL, as we're currently on lap number 12, but the final stages will come very quickly. It's been an exciting race so far, and I'm sure it'll continue all the way till the end.
Yeah, well, the excitement comes as well from seeing the drivers try to plot 3 or 4 steps ahead. So that strategy and that ability to read your opponents is what's so powerful in these higher levels of play. Like, for instance, we got Parodi just made a move for P4. He knows that the next DRS zone is going to be challenged for it. If not on the technically third zone, then definitely on the first, heading to the bridge section. So he's keeping that in mind. And contrived as it may be, I do like to almost put it akin to a pendulum. It's not about where you are right now. It's about where you're going to be in 5-6 laps time. So yes, you might be behind your opponent on this lap, but when it comes to the second to last or the last lap, are you going to be the chaser who's going to get it on the DRS in the final? That's where you want to be. You want to set up that pendulum effect to land in your favour at the final tick.
Yeah, these drivers planning in advance, of course, planning all the way till the end of the race. You always have to be ahead of what is happening in the race at that time. And right now, we're getting constant racing right now in constant action. Harvey Cohen going back through as well on Julian Klaffenbach. Same can be said about Nelson Alves going through as well on Gregory. So that's the battle currently for 9th in the race. Still pit stops though to come ahead from the drivers who started on the hard compound of tyres. They'll be moving on to the mediums later on in this race, as we currently watch with Louis Welsh, who also needs to make a pit stop, but his race has just been basically like his qualifying. It's not been that good, and he's not right now with the other drivers on the hard compound of tyres. He's been passed by a lot of the drivers who've already made pit stops. So a race to forget so far from Louis Welsh. Will be hoping for a safety car or a late dramatic twist in this one that can bring him back into play.
Well, he still has a bit of a fighting chance left, because even with that penalty, that 3 seconds, he's still on those hard tyres that he began with, and he is going to get a little bit of a chance to recoup some pace when he jumps onto those mediums in the later stints. It's about damage control at this point in the race for him, and I think he's doing an okay job of that thus far. He needs to just use those hards until such a time where he can get on the medium and really start to push the envelope in terms of pace.
So he'll be trying to recover that later on in this one. Currently watching with Liam Stevens, who is looking for that inside line on Gregory. He'll get the inside line and he'll find a way through. So Liam Stevens moves up to 10th position, much more pressure tires than, of course, Gregory. So he's able to move up to P10. Next up for him is going to be Nelson Alves as Harvey Cohen. We ride on board with him, and now we look to the battle and another switch between the pair of them as well. So Cohen back past Klaffenbach as they continue battling behind in this one on the 14th tour. And you can see these two just playing mind games with each other, just trying to continue to push and planning in the future, looking to see where they're going to find themselves in 6 laps, as of course Sappi talked you through earlier on. And the final stages of the race, you want to be the chaser, you want to be the man who's getting that DRS and the man who's going on the attack, because it can be so hard in the final stages when your opponent has got DRS, and it can be really hard to defend, especially with how long the straight is. So it always gets very close, and you always have to try and make sure that it plays in your favor.
Yep, and as we come to the halfway point of the race now, it's important to recognize how little these drivers are defending at points. We see a lot of basically free DRS overtakes, and that is by design. They want to minimize the time that they spent defending and fighting. If you're in a more contentious position of the track, such as maybe you've got someone peeking up around you just coming out of turn 2, then you maybe want to fight and defend a little bit more. But when you get especially to the DRS zones, you know that there is a key advantage and there's not going to be a meaningful exchange, so you're better off yielding and allowing it to happen. Saying that though, Leo Lund has joined in on this fight. This is a perfect example of what we mean by avoiding the fighting. Oldham and Hardy constantly switching places has allowed Lund to catch up and now stick himself squarely in the middle of this fight. He could put Hardy out of the zone completely if he plays as well.
So he'll now be looking to move up into the race lead for the time being, and he'll get that with the inside line as well. So Leo Lund takes the lead, has been able to get past Brad Holdham and Tyker Hardy, both on this lap, who are both scrapping it out, and Leo Lund has said thank you very much. To P1 in the race goes Leo Lund, but can he now defend it? Brad Holdham is going to come charging back down towards turn 1, and he's going to retake the position. So it's Brad Holdham back into the lead, Leo Lund in second, Tyker Hardy now having to sit in the wheel tracks in third position. And then behind this, of course, we have Jan Halliday leading a train of Daniele Purdy and Andre Molnar. That's 4th, 5th and 6th. And then we get to the drivers who have made a pit stop, and your net race leader so far at the moment, Julian Klaffenburg. But same story between him and Harvey Cohen. But now you're also going to see Liam Stevens, who's got fresher tyres by a couple of laps. He'll now also be looking to chase that battle.
Oldham looking nice and snappy as we go through that first sector. Heading into the second now, it's going to be a double overtake from both Hardy and Lund there. Who is going to come out on top of all of this? It's going to be almost 3 abreast as we come to the end of the DRS zone. Lund is going to slot into second. He's going to remain net neutral as Oldham now jumping in to third. And we are going to see this a lot. He's just another player in this game here. But the exciting thing for me is how they're going to interact with each other on the non-DRS sections of the track, because these drivers are still within a couple of tenths of each other, and patience is going to wear thin. None of these drivers are robots. They want to get past and they want those positions, and that might lead to the pressure mounting and us seeing a couple of potentially overzealous moves. Though saying that, everyone in perfect unison is going to take a gamble and head into the pits now. The other thing with these F1 wildcards is you don't know who your teammate in the pit box is, so I don't think we're seeing any double stacks, luckily, but it's still such a dicey operation when you don't know who you're paired.
Indeed, you could literally be paired with the man you're debating the race lead with as well. Luckily, not in this scenario for the drivers who've just made their way into the pit lane, but you don't know who you're paired with at all, and you could literally be paired, as I mentioned, with directly in front of you. So it is an unfortunate thing with the F1 world cars, but when we of course making sure that it's all equal. There's 24 cars, the normal ones not being equal. So hopefully that'll get sorted and we can return back to them. But at least we're able to get racing action going, even if it is with the F1 world cars. And as we talked about earlier, we are seeing more colors.
Yep, it's a little bit more inspired, a little bit more exciting. Of course, we don't know how long we are going to have to deal with these F1 World Cars, and that means that we do still want some visual distinguishment between the drivers, and luckily everyone has responded in kind for the most part with some more exciting designs. Some have gone full chrome, some have gone very loud and very bright. For instance, Cohen Stevens, very bright purples, hot pinks, which I do love to see. And we see some who have gone for more sort of deliberate designs. I've seen some cars reminiscent of the classics, of course the Lotus 49 inspired livery coming out from a couple of cars. You've got some more brand reminiscence as if they were driving their real cars as close as possible. We've got the McLaren Shadow livery coming out for a couple too. I believe that's Felipe Sousa who's running that indeed there. And hot take here, but I actually prefer the Shadow variant over the original. I do like that sort of black and orange, that black and papaya clean look.
Louis Roche has retired as well, but yeah, I can also agree with that one as well. Great to, of course, see some differences there as well, and yeah, I like it as well. As we take a look once again at the top two in this one, but as I mentioned, being chased by Liam Stevens, and he won't be the only. The drivers of the mediums you can see right now: Tycho Hardy, Leo Lund, Brad Holdham. Keep an eye on those three, who are also going to be looking to try and chase. Another switch between Julian Klaffenbach and Harvey Cohen. Through goes Julian Klaffenbach, then back into the race lead. In the background, you can see Liam Stevens and also Nelson now still inside the 1 second. So is Gregory. So he's getting them along with him right now, which is, of course, good for Nelson Al's race, who can add a good level as Leo Lund makes his way.
Yep, you're seeing two distinct packs in the field now, potentially three. Leo Lund is going to go the fastest on this lap, 27.670. Very impressive. Parodi and Molnar both immediately going to eclipse that with a 0.3 and a 0.0 respectively. So the pace is coming out, the claws are bared, and the drivers now know that it is crunch time. Everyone should have by this point taken their pit stop and should be on ideal scenario in order to complete the race. So it's going to be a big push for everyone to get into the fight and start to make up for some lost time. We see the leaders continue to trade, nothing new there, but we are going to see this second group with the likes of Lund, Hardy, Holdham. They're all going to be on 2-lap-old mediums, they're all going to be on prime pace, and we are going to see some fireworks coming out of these three. Just you watch.
Indeed. Trying to gain on the drivers ahead, also trying to battle amongst each other as well. So definitely keep an eye. There could be fireworks, as Sappy mentioned. Was dueling it out. We've already seen a 3-wide moment between them. But the more we make our way towards the end of the race, they're going to try. It's going to get even more tense between them. The tension will rise, and of course they're of course going to plan ahead and hope that it plays out in their favor. So some drivers may not like the position that they're in near the final stages. They're going to try that, but they're all trying to do that all at once, so it can get pretty tasty, and there could be fireworks as well. We are continuing to watch this battle. Right now, they're the ones who are just gaining. Jan Halliday with the fastest lap now, 1 minute 26.711 for him. So the fastest laps being exchanged right now on the driver for the drivers on those medium compound off tires, who are all attacking. We've of course got these guys, as we've already talked about. Jan Halliday there trying to push, and we're also watching them right now. Daniele Parodi, Andrea Molnar, those guys all looking to also try get themselves and get their names in the conversation. And we're on board with Parodi, who is going to have a chance now on the straight to get past Halliday. Should be a pretty simple move for Parodi, and it seems like it will be for Parodi, of course, the driver who is going now to be looking to try and get himself on to getting some decent points in this race, of course. So let's see whether Pody is going to be able to manage it. 3.1 seconds now separating Liam Stevens and Julian Klaffenbach. So he's gaining a little bit, but he's just trying to also keep the tyres in good condition. He does have fresher tyres, but he's just pushing lightly on trying to just get onto the back calmly of Harvey Cohen and Julian Klaffenbach. Not trying to get too much out of those tyres, and also keeping the ERS in a good condition as well, and especially knowing when we've got those medium runners on the attack behind.
Yeah, well, the hard tyres, you're not going to see that much of a pace difference between 14 and 9 laps. Certainly not the kind of pace difference, I think, that gets you 3.2 seconds to your opponents. Now, if these two continue to fight, trade spots potentially get a little bit dicey as we head into, for instance, the bridge section, then sure, you will see that time go down. And in fact, we are seeing that creep away a little bit as we're 2.9 seconds with Liam Stevens on to Harvey Cohen. But got to keep in mind as well, Stevens doesn't have the DRS himself because of that time gap. So all this is going to do for him is going to get Alves on his tail, and time that he's gained is going to be lost where these top two are leapfrogging each other. He's not got that same advantage in his corner because Alves is not going by. And I think that's on purpose.
Yep, so Alves just trying, of course, to sit behind, and he wants to be in that position, but these guys have now got those medium runners behind, so Hardy's going to need to try find a way to. Can be a bit hard in the DRS zones, and it means that you do have to try and make those audacious moves when it comes down to places where we wouldn't usually see, where you usually wouldn't see it. And Halliday, though, is able to get through on Riley McKay at a place where we usually do see it, however, in this scenario. But 2/10 separating Hardy and Gregory. That'll be the first driver for Hardy to try pass. So let's see if he's going to be able to try and get through and make light work of the next few cars ahead, because they, of course, are going to be focused on trying to get up to the battle between the top two. And Hardy is able to get past Gregory.
And looking around as Halliday has set the new fastest lap, that communicates to me that Halliday's on a mission. He knows that he's got 4 seconds to make up, maybe isn't too confident in making that time, but he's on those fresh mediums. He has all of the chances in the world to get that, and he's probably in the best position to have a chance of doing just that action. So let's see where he lands. So far, again, like we saw with the likes of Stevens, it's not looking good because he doesn't have that DRS leapfrog to play with, but we're seeing movements in the mid-pack nonetheless. We see Parodi, Molnar, Mackey, all in that same couple of tenths, with Sousa not too far behind. So I would not underestimate this group who's currently sat P10 through to P14.
They could definitely be outsiders and ones to watch as well. So Tycho Hardy, it seems close on the straight, but not as close as Brad Holdham is to Gregory, who is going to throw a late lunge down the inside. And when it turns into a traction race between the two of them, it should be won by Brad and Ayres. And next up, of course, is Leo Lund. So those are the three medium runners. So they're battling amongst themselves, but also trying to pass the cars ahead. Now, let's see if Tycho Hardy can try get past Liam Stevens. Nelson Alves was finally able to move up to P3, so finally decided to go for that move and take that position up to third as well. So Liam Stevens now is the car in the wheel tracks. Now the gap is 2.4 seconds, so these guys have gained a little bit. But if the medium runners are able to get through and they can stick possibly with if they can stick with the medium runners of Tycho Hardy, Leo Lund, Brad Holdham, then that could also possibly drag them towards that battle. But it will be hard for them to make any positions as well, because it seems like it'll all be the medium party show as it is right now. And Tycho Hardy is moving his way through late on the brakes. That could be close into the braking zone. Bit of contact as Nelson Alves is passed by Stevens, by Hardy, who are both able to follow their way through, but they're lucky to still be pointing in the right direction. That was close into the braking zone between the three of them.
A little bit dicey there, but very well executed nonetheless, and you have seen quite the couple of moves coming through. Now Hardy, he's going to be in a good position here because remember, he's on mediums. 6 laps versus 16 lap old hards. Now the hards are a more stable compound. They are the tyre that munches the miles, that gets you to where you need to be. Not the fastest, but the most reliably and the most consistently. But that is going to leave the door open for the likes of the mediums, who have still got quite the pace advantage at this stage, to really start to close in, push that gap, as Hold'em is going to get round Alves as well. The medium runners are coming, and they are not going to be slowing down.
They are just going to be racing flat out, qualifying lap after qualifying lap for all of these drivers, trying to get the gap down, trying to close in. That's the goal ahead of Tycho Hardy, who can see the top 2 both up ahead, and he will be trying to get inside the 1 second. When he's inside the 1 second, then you'll have an opportunity. Another switch will come between Cohen and Julian Klaffenbach, and there we go. So Cohen is able to take the position, but let's see, will the gap come down, and will there be enough time for Tycho Hardy to find a way through is going to be the question. Stevens is still in there. Leo Lund still yet to pass Liam Stevens, so Liam Stevens still hanging in there in 4th position. We're looking further back though to Jan Halliday. We were looking further back to Jan Halliday, who is just now going to be trying to chase Kian as well, who is in P9. So interesting battle still to come in this race through the mid-pack. But at the front of the field, it all continues. And we look further back. I think Leo Lund is going to be looking for that late lunge up the inside. And it seems like he's committed. He's gone for it, has Leo Lund. And it seems like he'll make that pass and he'll move up to 4th position. And Brad Holden will also try follow through. But Liam Stevens is using a bit of ERS to try fight back.
Yep, Lund has got the elbows out. He is not taking no for an answer when it comes to that track position. Liam Stevens is going to get the push back. He's going to have the battery to take a little bit more speed heading into the start-finish straight. Of course, combined with the DRS, very powerful stuff, but Lund is not going to be letting him round so easily. He knows he's got the advantage. He knows the kind of pace that he can press on him, and even with them both having the DRS, just the nature of having the mediums, although that pace advantage is going to start to diminish soon, it's still something that he can weigh out in his favour. Now, he's very low on the battery, unfortunately, so he's not going to have the pushing power that he was maybe looking for. But Tycho Hardy is another one to watch, 1.7 seconds. Now, the question on my mind, as we come to the final 5 laps of this race now, folks, is will there be enough time for Hardy? He's made up really good pace, he's made up really good time, and put in some consistent performance. He's full on the battery, he has got the chance to make this work, but is 1.4 seconds close enough of a gap to make it to the final lap? Not even make it to the final lap, but also overtake on the final lap. We'll have to wait and see as the top 2 continue to trade. Hardy is very much closing in.
I think he'll be able to get onto the back, but then passing, that's going to be another question, because of course Harvey Cohen and Julian Klaffenbach, first of all, one of them is going to have DRS anyway, so you'll have to first of all clear one of them if he wants an easy chance at it. If not, then he's going to have to maybe try and make a double move. So I think if it is going to happen, it'll have to come down to the last lap, but he's already got it to 1 second, and I'm sure he'll be able to push on through the next few corners and maybe get DRS. So he's going to be in this battle, so now he's just going to have to try and pass, but he definitely is in the fight, and he's dragging Liam Stevens with it, but Liam Stevens on the hard carbon tires, struggling to stay inside the 1 second, so that's why it's crucial for Leo Lund and Brad Holden to try and find a way through.
He burnt such a large amount of his battery, but Tycho Hardy has done it. Lap 26, he is within the magic zone, 1 second, and that is all the time he needed. He's got a chance to recharge his battery, and now he can really reel in the 2 leaders.
And go on the attack right now is Tycho Hardy. He's been able to get inside the 1 second, and it should now be a huge opportunity coming his way very, very soon if he can get, when he can get close. But yeah, he has had to use a bit of a battery, but he can afford maybe to sit there for about a lap, charging some of that back up and getting ready for an attack and getting ready for a push. And Leo Lund there, having to look in his mirrors. That will be late on the brakes as well and getting through. Leo Lund is going to get through on Liam Stevens. Finally, he's able to take the place, but Liam Stevens, of course, doesn't want to give it up. They're wheel banging as we come over the line towards turn 1, and Liam Stevens is back through. He's back through into the first turn, but now fighting back late on the brakes. and it's so close between the two of them. Leo Lund has been wanting this position for a few laps. Is he finally going to have it? That's close to contact between the two of them, but I think he might just finally have the outside line, but still coming back on the inside of Stevens. Wheel-to-wheel stuff, and Liam Stevens holds on to the position. Brilliant defending, hard defending, but he's desperate to hold on to the position, and for Leo Lund, from the attack to the defense, Brad Holdham is also trying to get through as well.
I think Lund just got a little bit too impatient there. You saw him get the elbows out almost to the point of causing a accident, because he did make contact with Stevens a couple of times throughout the process of that entire battle. Brilliant wheel-to-wheel racing there, but sometimes a little bit too much, and I think that overzealous approach, as we know Lund to be a bit of an aggressive driver, but reining that back in, knowing when the limit is, that is going to be just as hard of a battle, as now we can see that as a result of not gaining that position, losing the rear a little bit coming out of those first couple of corners in lap 27, not only has he not got the P5, but he's now got himself being overtaken by Brad Holdham.
Another switch for this race lead, but they have to be careful because they're not alone. They've been alone for a while, but they're not alone this time around. It is going to be, they're going to have Tycho Hardy for company on the last 2 laps of this race. It seems like it's going to be a last lap decider in this one. Tycho Hardy is going to be there, so is Liam Stevens, and they're all going to be waiting for their opportunity, hoping there is fireworks ahead, and there well could be, because they've all been waiting for this deciding moment of this race, and they're all surely going to go all in. Julian Klaffenbach getting the gap up to 6:10, so he's clearly looking to try and push on, and Harvey Cohen is going to recover some of that time with the DRS, but this is about to get tasty on the last 2 laps of this race.
Well, we're going to be laser locked to the top 5 here as we come in to the penultimate lap now. Brad Holdham, he's going to be one to watch as he's going to be tight to the back of Liam Stevens. He's going to be looking to the inside, looking going to the outside as you see even further up. That's 2, that's 3 wide. That's Harvey Cohen going into 3rd as Tycho Hardy makes a battle for the 1st and 2nd spots as well. He's going to be making it all the way up into 1st in a brilliant attack heading into the bridge section. I keep trying to refer to it as the jungle section, and I can realise the concrete jungle maybe, but jungle in terms of the traditional sense it is not. But Harvey Cohen currently sat in P4 as Klaffenbach has managed to get away a little bit easier in 2nd. Leo Lund continues that attack. He's going to go deep to the inside, leveraging that DRS, not getting the move he otherwise wanted, but big lunge from Harvey Cohen. That's going to see him drop down massively, now down in P7. You can see the desperation on the driver's faces and the driver's cars with the way they move, the way they attack. Cohen once again going on to take P6, but is it going to be a full confirm as we go through the first corner? Alves has the inside. They're going to remain side by side, even going off track a little bit. That's going to be a bit of an excursion there, and further up you see battles continue to fight on, with Stevens trying to hang on to a podium like his championship depends on it.
So we're going to have 2 battles on this last lap. It seems like the top 2 are going to try and make it a private battle for first position. Hardy versus Julian Klaffenbach. Leo Lund, crucially, has been able to get back inside the 1 second. That will save him from an attack from behind. But the question is, how much ERS has he used? And now we look back to the leaders with Klaffenbach closing in. But is he going to make the move? No, he's going to sit back because he knows that he wants to make it towards the last braking zone and the last straight on this circuit. So the top 2 are both going to duel it out. Behind it's going to be interesting as well for who's going to take the final spot on the podium. What a race it's been. It's all going to come down to this. This exit is crucial. Julian Klaffenbach has pushed Tycho Hardy all the way through. Now will Tycho Hardy be able to defend it?
He immediately goes to the inside. He knows what's coming. He's trying his best to defend from what's going to happen. Parodi is going to get a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. Hardy is going to try his best, but Klaffenbach just has it on the final straight here. A little bit deep onto the apex, though. This could be side by side. This could be a last-minute lunge coming in from Hardy. Is it going to be enough? No. Final corner. Klaffenbach takes the checkered flag. Hardy and Leo Lund taking your podium spots, and you can see the 2-3 wide battles that were raging right to the bitter end.
Leo Lund beating Liam Stevens to the final spot on the podium by 87 thousandths of a second. It was close for the final spot on the podium. It was close between our top 2. And what a drive from Leo Lund, up 16 places to finish on the rostrum. Great drive from Leo Lund in a lot of battles and providing us with a lot of action throughout. But Julian Klaffenbach, great drive by him on old hard tires up against Tycho Hardy, and he was able to come out on top. But that DRS on the last lap was so crucial, and he got a brilliant exit that aided him in getting that victory at the end.
Yeah, well, with the two retirees, Lou Welch and top 8, say the 18 drivers finishing is going to be as follows. You have Klaffenbach taking the win, with Tycho Hardy very close behind. Lekomsky, in fact, retiring from the session. So he's going to be dropping down, I believe, into P18 as Benzoni is going to take his place. Hardy and Lund complete the podium with Stevens, Hold'em, Cohen, Godendorp, Jan Halliday, Nelson Alves, and Zibble making your top 10 here tonight, folks. As we see, almost a parade lap, and we will see the second half of the standings very shortly. I have to say, though, almost kind of under the radar, as you see him pop up for Driver of the Day, Leo Lund, he did have a bit of an elbows out aggressive stance towards today's race, and sometimes I think that did get the better of him. But as we come through to the podium here, and we then jump through to the stands, you can see started 19th and ended on the podium. Whichever way you slice it, and of course pending steward verdicts, that is an amazing achievement.
Amazing drive, amazing achievement, and yes, he was aggressive at points as well, but that probably kind of got him that third position. He needed to make some crucial moves that maybe were a bit on the edge, but he was able to get some crucial places that helped him get to where he was in the race. So he's going to take the final spot on the podium, for now at least, because of course there still could be investigations and reports that the drivers do, so the order can still change, and if there's anything major, of course, we will update you next time out, and you can also keep an eye on our socials here at PSGL.
Yeah, but you see the second half of the grid here. Andre Molnar, Riley McKay, Daniel Parodi in the end going 13th because he did have that 10-second penalty for corner cutting. And with Fiple Sousa, Valentino Libena, Liane Turpkov, and then Benzoni making it to the end. Shimon Lekomsky does drop in to 18th spot after that late DNF, with Louis Welch and Top A not making it to the very end. Interesting little tidbit though, I have been informed that Leo Lund apparently had 9% damage since lap 1, so he not only got that performance, but he did so.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. Seeing performances like that and hearing the different stories of the drivers, races of is always amazing. And hopefully we'll get to actually hear some from our top 3 if anyone does get into the waiting room. No one as of yet, but hopefully we'll be getting from this race.
Yeah, we'll hopefully get a chance at the very least to hear from our top drivers, and maybe we'll see if we can get some other voices in there as well, just sort of explain their side of the story. We do have one who is waiting in the wings and has been the talk of the evening. It is Leo Lund. Let's take a chance to say hello. So Leo Lund, can you hear us?
Yep.
Welcome to the commentary box, my friend. And before we get started, P19 to a podium position. That is an immense achievement. A well-earned and well-fought podium. Congratulations. What was your expectations heading into tonight?
Like last week, my qual is so dog shit, so yeah, but my race pace is somehow so good, so I was expecting to gain some positions.
Yeah, well, say you certainly made good on that. So starting P19th, coming out of the quali session, but P3 in the race. And when it comes to the race itself, I want to talk a little bit about that because that's obviously where you shine the brightest. I saw in the driver's chat as well that you had a little bit of damage from the first lap. So how did you really handle that? What kind of damage was it? How did it affect your race?
It was like in the tight chicane. There everyone like stopped. It was like standing still, so everyone pushed at each other, and I got a bit hard push from someone, and yeah, that got me the damage.
Yeah, well, say an impressive result. And in terms of the strategy, of course, coming into it with the mindset of I will make the time up in the race. Did the VSC, obviously the VSC came out, that took a little bit of a shake up to things. Did that change your approach at all, or did you otherwise stick to the main plan?
I stick to the main plan, but it was good also because people box and it like ended right before they boxed, so it was so good for us. So we gained a bit places from that, so that was lucky.
It's only a lucky break on the timing, but say, lucky or not, converting 16 positions is an immense feat, and I do want to emphasize that because that is just a couple of stops short of a last to first, and I know we're not necessarily going for content, but that would certainly be up there. So brilliant stuff. Omi, anything from you?
Nope, not at all. You've covered it all, Cyber. But yes, well done on that drive. Congratulations and brilliant recovery to the podium places.
Thank you.
Yeah, so one last thing before we let you go. Of course, looking at the rest of the calendar, we've had Britain, we've had Miami. Any one particular track that you're looking forward to in the rest of this calendar?
No, I don't know. Jeddah maybe.
Okay, yeah.
I think I'm a bit better here in quali.
Well, look forward to seeing it, mate. Looking forward to seeing you potentially more in the commentary box. But thank you very much for joining us. And again, great job on your podium tonight.
Thank you.
All right, so that was Mr. Leo Lund. Now, who should we get in next, Omi?
So we've got Hardy and Julian Klaffenbach waiting for us. So should we go with Hardy first as he was in second?
Let's go with Hardy. Let's drag him in, see what we got to say. So, Tycho Hardy, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you loud and clear. Welcome to the box. I do want to say,
Sure.
before anything else, brilliant job tonight. Say, quali in second, finished in second, top end consistency throughout. What were your expectations tonight?
Yeah, well, to be honest, while practicing, especially in quali, I was struggling a lot. So I didn't expect to be P2 at all, especially after the first two runs where I didn't improve on my second run, but I wasn't feeling, very great, so I wasn't expecting a lot. Then I pulled out a pretty good lap, although turn one was, I completely missed it, but the rest of the lap was solid, so got in P2. And then when I started P2, I knew the race was always, or the win was always going to be on, because I mean, my quali pace or my race pace usually always better than my quali pace. And I knew from practice as well that was quite quick. We started on the hard, then the safety car made it for an interesting race in the end. I have no idea how it would have played out if that didn't happen, but I mean, I'm very happy with P2 after all, because I mean, two P2s in a row now, so yeah, should be the championship lead if nothing happens with the steward. So yeah, we're very happy after the race.
Yeah, and I've got to say it was very exciting to watch, especially as you made those advancements upwards. Did you have any particular mindset going into the race? And of course, you did mention that the safety car did change things up. But did you have a particular plan in terms of strategy or a particular aim, or was it very much let's see what happens? I got the P2, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I was always gonna wait to see what I was gonna do in quali, and then at the start we basically decided to start on hards, which I mean I had no idea if it was the best choice, but I still don't know if it was. But I think with the safety car, it definitely ended up being a great choice. And yeah, I had no particular plan going into the race, but I didn't think I would start on hards before the race started, but I did, and in the end, P2, can't complain at all.
Yeah, and to say, at the end of the day, P2, that's valuable points in the pocket. So championship hopes are strong. Is there any particular part of the season that you're looking forward to? Obviously, we've got quite the diverse calendar. Any particular round you're looking forward to? And no, you cannot say break week. That does not count.
Yeah, well, I need to get the calendar up. I know that next race is Austria, I believe. But to be honest, I haven't done a lot of tracks yet on this game, so I have no idea if I'm gonna like them or not. But I mean, Austria is always a good race for racing. It should be an exciting race. Although I don't know how the pace is gonna look, but I mean, my pace has been solid throughout so far and consistent. So yeah, I think every track should be alright. There's some ones I'd rather not see on the calendar, but I mean, I'm okay with every track, to be honest.
Yeah, well, so fits in with the sort of vibe of let's see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. Well, it was great to talk to you, Tycho. Anything from you, Omi?
Nope, not at all. Great to see you, of course, here on the podium, and hopefully, maybe you can convert it to the top step of the podium in the next few races.
Yeah, hopefully.
No, we look forward to seeing you, mate. But take care and take a rest. A well-earned
Yeah,
P2. Congratulations.
thank you. Thanks for engineering. Or for engineering, well, thanks for commentating on me.
No worries. Oh, there you go. That was Tycho Hardy. You say engineering. I say, Omi, is there something you're not telling me? But that does leave us one driver left, and of course, it is Clafferbot. Let's grab him in here. Let's see what he's got to say. Clafferbot, can you hear us, my friend?
Yes, I can hear you.
Welcome to the commentary box, and well done on tonight's performance. Tell me, how were you feeling about Miami tonight before you went in?
To be honest, I think Miami this track was the first track I've really done proper like really much practice compared to the last races and also last season. And I just, I was my pace was good like for the last few races and as well, and last race as well. And I just have to execute it, and today finally was the day I managed to execute it. And just thanks to Botton the goat, like he's probably one of the best engineers I've ever had, and also thanks to RAG for supporting me. It's crazy, like the support and the team is insane.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you've got a great team in your corner, and tonight looks like it's finally come together in your favour. We might even see, say, a little bit of momentum. So you've got this under your belt now. How are you feeling about future races with that in mind? Obviously, you've got the support, and you've got, or tonight, a very good result. How are you feeling about the rest of the season?
Actually, as I said, with Ricardo and Tycho in the team, we are putting loads of time in to get the best setups as possible, and I just can't wait to work with them for the next few races and also cook the setup again, hopefully. And then yeah, next week is Austria, so I can't wait to race at my home track and hopefully get on the podium again. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So, one question before I sort of pass it off and see if Omi's got anything is the VSC came out. That was, of course, a bit of a curveball that happened in the race because we did have the wipeout, I believe, from top A. Did that change your strategy at all? Did you have to deliberate much on that with the engineer, or was it very much stick to plan A?
Actually, like the virtual safety car came out like mid in the middle of the lap, so we weren't sure if it's gonna stay out until like we can reach the box. And in the end, unfortunately, at the moment we entered the pits, it said like a safety car ending now, virtual safety car ending now, and the decision was made by myself actually, because I thought if the guy ahead of me pits as well, I pit as well, because then we might can work together and then like basically push each other away from the others. And we would wanted to box like a few laps later, but in the end it worked out quite good.
Yeah, so keeping that proximity to the leaders in the end did work out quite well. Of course, everyone running the different strategies, some staying out under the VSC, some going with traditional, some running later. I think it was a good call. It sounds like it was a good call, and ultimately you made the best of it. One other thing that popped up in my mind as well is a lot of your race was spent basically trading spots between yourself and Cohen. What was that like from your point of view? So obviously you were going back and forth for quite a while on that.
Um, like the switching, you mean?
Yeah, say the switching P1, P2.
Yeah. I think we both realized that without helping each other, we wouldn't reach a good result in the end. We definitely gained a few seconds due to that. So we just, I mean, Harvey got a great racecraft, which definitely have helped both of us. And yeah, I mean, in the end, we just we thought about it. I thought about it, and I guess he thought about it as well. And then yeah, we helped each other. Yeah.
Yeah, and it worked out very well. It's a shame about Cohen because I know he did sort of drop out in a major way towards the end of the race. And
Okay.
as you're saying, you both were exhibiting great racecraft throughout the entire race. So, pass my commendations onto him as well. But for yourself, of course, brilliant performance tonight. And with all of that in mind, potentially see you in the commentary box in future races.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well,
Thank
take care,
you.
mate. Brilliant stuff tonight. Well done.
Bye.
And as I just while we're conscious of time, that is where we are going to be wrapping things for tonight, folks. So, in terms of we head to none other than Austria, the Red Bull Ring, and it's the same. It's one of my favourites, minus the debate about whether turn 2 is a real turn or not. I've got to say, it's definitely up there for me. What say you, Amy?
Absolutely exactly the same. Every PSGL race I've done around Austria, any race I've done around Austria, always absolutely wide open, mind blowing, chaotic racing. So cannot wait for Austria. It's going to be dramatic. It's going to be action packed. It's going to be lap after lap of amazing action. Cannot wait for Austria. So yeah, excited for that one, and I really do like that circuit. But yes, the turn to debate can be very interesting at times.
Yeah, remember, folks, that is the third round and the last round before we take a break week. So that initial setting of the scene for the championship is going to be happening at Austria for the lock-in, and then you've got that extra time space. So you will not want to miss it, because you'll be missing out on a potential big setup for the next arc of this championship, heading in to the likes of Spain, Hungary, and beyond. So make sure you're there, same time next week, whether it's F2, F4, F1, or beyond. Make sure you keep it PSGL. And before we sign off, support the people who support us. GT Omega, Sim Racing Centre. Use code PSGL for a healthy discount at checkout. But for tonight, folks, we are going to be saying goodbye. So thank you very much to everyone who watched, whether you're on YouTube or on Twitch. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon.